Grammy winner and prolific hitmaker, Prince, was famous for week-long fan-friendly parties, hits like Purple Rain, and other gems like Orgasm. Yet his songs about love and sex cast a shadow over his lifelong fear heard in songs like Another Lonely Christmas and It's Gonna Be Lonely. His lyrics proved prophetic when his staff found him in his home elevator, half a day after he overdosed and died. Alone. But little did Prince know, he was far from alone in his battle with loneliness. Forbes, May 24, 2018, declares that nearly 50% of U.S. adults report feeling lonely. Younger generations, specifically Gen Z, are the most susceptible. Gwen, a 24-year-old college student, found herself plagued with loneliness. For Vice, February 14, 2018, and dejectedly says, "Without anyone to confide in, I would lock myself in my room and cry. If I died here, nobody would know." We need to put an end to the loneliness crisis because, as former United States Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy reports, loneliness is as deadly as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. First, we'll examine the many problems that come from loneliness. Second, uncover the causes of this epidemic. And lastly, we'll explore some solutions to prevent what American writer Fannie Howe calls an uninvited companion that slips in beside you without notice. In his late 20s, small-town DJ Steve grew dangerously lonely, to the point where he could hardly even speak to another human without entering a state of panic. And each of us are vulnerable to the same threat. CNN, December 20th, 2018, explains that surprisingly, loneliness does not mean not having friends. I had friends, but they all went away to college, while I was stuck at community college. I looked around and I didn't see any friendly faces that weren't hidden behind earbuds, sunglasses, a hydro flask, and a phone. No one was interested in striking up a conversation, let alone starting a new friendship. So I did what introverts do best, and I kept to myself. Author and professor Dr. Montague in 2018 unveils these commodities act as relational armor that keeps us at a distance from those who are physically closest to us. Obstacles like these create a vicious cycle of loneliness. Nature, August 14, 2018, points out loneliness has a self-reinforcing characteristic. If an individual is perceived as lonely, others will frequently disengage from interacting with them, resulting in a compounding cycle. The Los Angeles Times, January 17, 2018, announces this endless loop causes lonely people to be 50% more likely to die prematurely than those who have healthy social relationships. By itself, loneliness is heartbreaking, but the amount of dangerous health issues that comes with it makes it overwhelming. The Sacramento Bee, March 31st, 2018, warns that those who suffer from loneliness have a much greater risk of chronic inflammation, Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, depression, and suicide. The Sacramento Bee continues that loneliness is deadlier than the assault weapons some people are so obsessed with banning lately. A gun might kill more quickly, but loneliness will expedite death as surely as a bullet. Former DJ Steve had debilitating loneliness that sent him in a downward spiral, just like countless others whose loneliness is caused by the social stigma, the dominance of technology, and sleep deprivation. Present-day society teaches people to stigmatize the lonely, falsely accusing them of being weak. Salon, August 11, 2018, observes that American culture engages in unhealthy, rugged individualism, with phrases like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and no free lunch, leaving anyone struggling completely on their own. This ultimately leads people to isolation and loneliness out of the fear of being ostracized. Professor Cacioppo for Psychology Today, March 7, 2018, stresses that these practices of stigmatization cause people who feel lonely to hide it and even deny it, which is distressing, because that makes no more sense than denying we feel hunger, thirst, or pain. Additionally, we've traded people for screens, as increased technology use via email, texting, social media, and pornography in recent years have led to a significant rise in loneliness. The Institute for Family Studies, July 3, 2018, insists that substituting technology for real-life relationship bids is seriously preventing young people from forming their most fulfilling and intimate relationships. These are critical to their well-being. In an Indiana suburb, Professor Kupchandani for USA Today, May 1st, 2018, sees the devastating effect social media has on his students, mentioning, "I have students who tell me they have 500 online friends, but when they're in need, there is no one." Lastly, sleep deprivation has been tied to triggering loneliness. UC Berkeley neuroscience and psychology professor Matthew Walker for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, August 15, 2018, asserts that the less sleep you get, the less you want to socially interact. Not only that, but according to Live Science, August 14, 2018, the lonely feeling caused by sleep deprivation may also be socially contagious, with studies indicating that well-rested people who had just a brief encounter with a sleep-deprived person reported feeling lonelier themselves. One day, former DJ Steve decided he had had enough of his loneliness and began to force himself to get out of the house. Just one of the many solutions to eliminating loneliness, including less technology, treatment programs, and volunteering. First, we need to reconnect. No, not to the Wi-Fi, but with one another by swapping technology for real conversation. Inverse, March 21st, 2019, admits there's something about being around another person, about touch, eye contact, and laughter that cannot be replaced by digital communication. Dr. Solomon for Vogue, June 13, 2018, advocates for small talk, from the 1-minute conversation in line at Starbucks to the glance across the train when you smile at someone, because these mundane face-to-face interactions can be hugely beneficial. Second, we need to act on the opportunity to implement programs to diagnose and treat loneliness. UK Prime Minister Theresa May elaborates in a January 17, 2018 press release that a Minister for Loneliness has been appointed to address the loneliness endured by people who have no one to talk to. Back in the States, US News, September 2nd, 2018, highlights a healthcare system, CareMore Health, who is taking loneliness into their own hands by helping patients reconnect socially through referrals to community centers. More hospitals and healthcare systems must take initiative to do the same. Lastly, by volunteering within our community, we can not only benefit others, but ourselves too. Psych Central, July 8, 2018, confirms that volunteering is linked to lowered stress, decreased depression, longer lives, and improved self-confidence, all the while meeting new people and building meaningful connections. After I lost my cousin to cancer, I got involved with the Tyler Robinson Foundation, an organization that supports families who are impacted by childhood cancer. Through my photo booth business that I run at parties and events, I've raised almost $20,000 and donated all of it to the organization. I get to hang out with my favorite band, Imagine Dragons, who are the main sponsors of the foundation, and I've never felt more connected to a group of people. And I know what you might be thinking. Cool story, Phoebe. But how the heck am I supposed to do something like that? And my answer to that is you just have to put yourself out there. Nobody handed this to me. I just went out there and did it. And life-changing opportunities like these are waiting for you too, right outside that door. First, we discovered the harmful effects of social isolation. Second, we diagnosed the causes. And third, we learned how we can defeat loneliness. We need to put an end to the loneliness crisis because this epidemic will not solve itself. And there's no quick fix for this. There's no pill, no app, no handout I can give you, and no legislation to pass. We have to make an effort. So put yourself out there, or check in on your neighbor. But do your part, because it is the least we can do.